येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपा। ॐ ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोः कृपा। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमः। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गीता महारानी की जय। हरि ओम। We are discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the 13th discourse, and Lord Krishna is explaining in brief what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, and who is the doer and who is the enjoyer. Yesterday we were discussing the sloka number 28th. कार्य कारण कर्तृत्वे हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते. In the production of the effect and the cause, nature is said to be the cause. In the experience of pleasure and pain, the soul is said to be the cause. This we have seen. What is pleasure and pain yesterday? We have seen it. The fruits of various virtuous and vicious actions. The force of desires acts on the mind, and the mind impels the senses to act, to get the objects of the desire. Good and evil actions proceed from nature and lead to happiness or misery. Evil action produces misery and sorrow. Virtuous actions cause happiness and joy. The soul is the enjoyer. The wife works and prepares nice palatable dishes. The husband silently enjoys the fruits of her labor. He sits quietly and eats them to his self-content. आज कोई आए नहीं क्या बात? Heart's content he enjoys. Even so, nature works and the soul experiences the fruits of her labor. That is pleasure and pain. When harmony predominates, Virtuous is taken as sattva. When there is a predominance of rajas, both virtuous and vicious actions are performed. When tamas predominates, sinful are done. In this way, the three gunas being imbalanced and dominating on various actions. In the place of karana, which means cause, karana, some read karana, which means instruments of actions, mind, intellect, and egoism. 13 principles located in the body, they are called, which is the physical body, the 5 elements which form the body, and the 5 senses, and which form the sense objects, are born of nature, come under the term effect. All qualities such as pleasure and pain and delusion, which are born of nature, come under the term instruments. Because these qualities reside in the instruments, the senses. In the production of the body, the senses and their sensations, nature is said to be the cause. Thus, nature is the cause of sansar. This yesterday we saw. Nature, how becomes the nature the cause of sansar? You see, modifications of the nature cause, sugar cane juice, sugar and sugar candy are the effects or modifications of sugar cane. Milk is the cause, curd, butter and ghee are the modifications of milk. Whatever is a modification of something is its effect. Modifications are taken as, and that from which the modifications come is their cause. From the cause, the effect is made modifications. Because nature has 3 qualities. In the beginning we saw 3 qualities: sensing and dominating. And thereby they perform actions. So nature is the source or cause of all modifications. She generates everything. The 10 organs, senses, mind, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, are the 16 modifications of effects or effects. Modifications are called effects, and they are 16. Saw yesterday a little. Mahat means intellect. Here intellect is taken as the Mahat. It is a term. We have to use these terms, sometimes differ in meaning according to different contexts. You should be always very careful how the terms are used. Mahat, which is taken as intellect here, is born of Mula Prakriti. From Mahat, Ahankar, egoism. Who are you? I. Mahat is the effect of Mula Prakriti and the cause of Ahankar. Therefore, Mahat is called Prakriti Vikriti. Prakriti Vikriti. Vikriti is just opposite of Prakriti. Prakriti. Prakarsana karoti iti prakriti. Pra upasarga is used for emphasizing or for perfection. Prakas, Prakriti, Prabuddha, Buddha, Prabuddha. All these are taken in this sense. So, here Prakriti and Vikriti both are taken as Mahat. It is intellect. So, intellect is not a steady posture, steady state of anything. It is so it will have changes. So, Prakriti will be there. Some actions, Prakriti means actions, together is known as Mahat. Clear? Ahankar and the 5 tanmatras, root elements of the matter. Root elements, tanmatras. In the very beginning, when the Creator starts creating, the Creator has to be something identified as something. So the Creator is identified as the threefold body. First of all, when the unmanifest manifests, starts manifesting, starts expressing, it has to express itself. You have to give your introduction, so you have to give your name or your form, where from you are, or what is your name, your address, all these you have to produce to introduce yourself. It has to give its introductions. Introduction means ID, identity. Identity means the name and form. So form is formed by, first it is formed. If somebody asks, who are you? Then you have to say, tell your name and your profession and your address, everything one after another. So in the very beginning, when the modification starts, the unmanifest starts manifesting, it has to have a form. That is first introduction. Just as before writing the book, we have to choose the subjects in the index. From index we can know what subject is dealt with in the book. Index of mind. Whatever you think, it is they hide their face. Impressions should not be expressed. In this way, the Mool Prakriti is expressed as 3 qualities only. Trigunatmika, 3 qualities. Those 3 qualities, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, when starts functioning, then all these modifications are seen in one. that is three qualities, and that those three qualities they create. Just now we discussed the sattva creates the ahankar, the intellect. No, chitta it's ahankar, and then it becomes the intellect, and then acting force. When it dominates over each other, they create some functions. They function. In this way, the five tanmatras are created. First of all, Tejas, he will find himself the first impression. I is nothing but Tejas. Tejas is nothing but knowledge. It is a fraction of the absolute knowledge, absolute intellect, that is cosmic intellect. When it takes a form, that is, first form is a spark of three qualities, and then five tanmatras, the root elements. Root elements means when there is a desire in the very beginning, I am one, let me be many, ekoham bahushyama. From this idea, the unmanifest starts manifesting. So, first of all, these three, one idea becomes three, that is sattva, rajas, tamas, and that also the creating power, the intellectual power, and the knowledge power. The creating power and the knowledge power and the desire to create. That is a momentum. That creating power is nothing but the energy that is called prana, vital energy, that appears in this way. And then tanmatras, to see myself or to become many. How it will become many? It has to modify or multiply. Modification is nothing but multiplication. So five tanmatras, root elements. कोई नहीं दिखाई दे रहे, क्या बात? इधर तो है, अभी आए, अभी आ रहे हैं सब। गुड फ्राइडे और फ्राइडे वीकेंड फ्राइडे, अच्छा, not Saturday. To have a desire, that is willpower, इच्छा शक्ति, and kriya shakti, creating power, and knowledge power. It has to understand shakti, the willpower, the knowledge power, and the creating power. Then only these three are nothing but modification of the manifestation of creating power. And sattva is knowledge power, and desires are the tamasic power. So in this way, three and five root elements, they are sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. How to modify, how to know how to create. These five are the root elements. The form, the sound. Form creates the limited object of the unlimited, unmanifested, that is unlimited. When it gets limited, that is called formation. So, the form is made, and then sound makes the modifications and becomes the name, identification of the form. So, name and form, sound and the form, and then it has to be seen. So the form is seen and it has to be identified. So the name is given to the form. And now how it is, we have to touch it. So comes the touch. Then only it is affirmed, it is ascertained, it is the form. Then we have to smell it. When in the science class some object is given to you to identify what it is, you have to smell it, smell, odor, the smell, and taste. You have to taste it, how is the water. And you have to see it. It is liquid. You have to touch it, taste it, and then smell it. Then only it is perfectly identified, it is so and so. So all these five root elements, touch, taste, smell, and of course the form and the name, sound. In this way, these five root elements, when they magnify, they expand, they become the five elements. Sky is the sound, air is the touch, fire is the form. Because of light you see the form, that is eyes, and this is how five senses of knowledge. These five root elements, they become five senses of knowledge, and they have contact with five elements. The ear hears the sound, and it is nothing but the sky, and the eyes see the form, it is nothing but fire. Touch, skin touches it, it is wind. And then the taste is by the water, ras. Water only gives the taste. You cannot taste the fire or air, but you can taste the water. And then smell, the earth gives you the smell. You see, when there will be fast showers in summer, how the earth smells. So earth is called smell. In this way, five elements are modified or magnified or created. In this way, 5 + 3, they are eightfold body. the body of the creator. It thinks, I am so and so. I am the creator. Then the sound manifests, and then the creation goes on. In this way, the creative process starts. So now Mahat is called intellect, and that is Prakriti and Vikriti, the three qualities and its modifications, all these five root elements and the five elements, of course, afterwards. Ahankar and the five tanmatras, root elements of matter, are the seven Prakriti Vikritis. Mahat and Ahankar, egoism, I, and these five root elements. In this way, seven modifications. Each of these is a modification of its producer. And is the term the cause of its successor. The five root elements generate the five gross elements. Generating means magnifying and becoming visible. They are the subtle elements. These seven are both nature and modification, Prakriti and Vikriti. Vikriti means modification. Vigat kriti Vikriti. Vi upasarg, vigat bhi hai, and vishes also. Vishes in clarity way, vishes. And vigat when it is destroyed or it is modified. That is called Vikriti. Prakriti and Vikriti. These are the modifications. Cause and effect. This is how the cause and effect is understood and are included under the term cause. Cause also is the functions of the body, senses, life force, mind and intellect are superimposed on the self. Superimposed means they are known as the self, just as the snake is superimposed on the rope. Superimposition means assuming which is not there. That we call also attribution. It is not there, so that is called superimposition. So the functions of the body, senses, life force, mind and intellect are superimposed on the identified as something. When these are superimposed, because self is invisible and unperceivable, so when all these are imagined, then self is understood as something. Because the rope is invisible, we cannot see the rope, thing else. That is called superimposition. The self has been modified in this way, and these are the modifications which are superimposed on the self. The consciousness of the self is reflected in the intellect, Chidabhas. Abhas also the attribute. Just as you see your form in the mirror, form means it is reflection only. It is not you, but it is exactly the copy of your form. In this way, the consciousness which is not expressed nor manifested, that manifests in this way on these mind, etc., and it is reflection only. Just as you see yourself in the mirror by your reflection, so also the consciousness absolute, which is Sat Chit Anand, that is reflected in this mind. Mind means all these. Body, senses, life force, prana, and mind, intellect, all these. They are the mirror, and in that this consciousness reflects. That's how they say, Man tera darpan kahlaye re. Mind is the mirror. You can see everything in the mirror. Wherever you turn it, all the reflections you can see in the mirror. If it is pure, then you can see the reflections clearly. If it is impure, that means something is covering the surface of it, surface of the mirror, then you cannot see the reflections clearly. You have confusion. What is it? In this way, all these together called mind or the mirror, in this mirror the consciousness is reflected. That is called Chidabhas, Abhas, something, Abhas, reflection. Chidabhas. I am black, I am fat, I am hungry, I am angry, I am deaf, I am blind, I am the son of so and so, I know, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, etc. So the self, the ignorant man says like this, but really it is only reflection. I am so and so. I have a ear. Where do you see? Can you see your ear? Can you see your eyes? Can you see your mouth? Even mouth you cannot see. Your eyebrows you cannot see. But you see all these in the reflections. So you think this is my ear, this is my eyes, this is my nose, all this. So in this way, the reflections are taken to be the real object by the ignorant persons. They take the reflection to be the object.
Of superimposition between the two, is there any common thing available or not?
Common thing is presence. Why not? The presence, the awareness, and the satisfaction of its existence. Three things are common things. Sat, Chit, Anand. It is everywhere, in the reflection also, in the object also. The object is there, reflection is there, but it appears to be something else. That's why confusion. That is called illusion. It makes a confusion. What is it? It is not clear. But presence is there. It is something. It is something. The object is clear vision. The shadow or the reflection never gives clarity. So there will be always doubt. That is called the superimposition or the attributes, abhas. But three things are always present in both the object and reflection, existence and the bliss of contentment of existence. So three things are always present in all conditions. That is common. That is but the object is clear, it is sure, certain. There is no doubt in it because it is one. The reflections become many according to many angles. So there arise doubts. That's how though it does exist, though you know it exists, though you are satisfied that it is there, but you are not clear what it is. That is called superimposition. There is something which is not visible, so you have imagined the snake on the rope because it is not clear. This is called superimposition, which brings all the doubts and which changes also. If you go, have you seen sometimes in the shadow, the form in the clouds, it changes because it is mind which is changing. The fixed trees, they seem to be running behind when you are changing your position, sitting in the train. The side trees, they run behind. Actually they are fixed, they are constant. But because of your changing mind, you think your position is changed, you think they are changing. This is called the cause for the confusion. This is how the object is known, and the ignorant person who doesn't know the reality, he thinks, I am the enjoyer. The self thinks, I am the enjoyer because of ignorance. Understood now? The inner self, which is covered by all these because of reflection only. So it thinks, I am the enjoyer. And Prakriti does all the actions. This is how Prakriti is the doer, and the Purusa, the inner self, which is deluded by ignorance, he thinks, I am the enjoyer. Purusa becomes enjoyer. That Purusa is not the Purushottam. Purushottam is the real object. All these are the reflections. Purusa is nothing but a reflection. Prakriti also reflection. When the reflection imbalance means the nature, that means the changing, modifying aspect. And Vikriti, it modifies also. at the same time intervals, and modifying means everything, changing, modification. So ekoham bahusyama is this way. The one becomes many, that is called Kriya. The intellect is very subtle self, the real self, not the individual, which is which is caused by sattvas, which is so pure and sharp and subtle. It is in the borderline. That side the is very subtle, and it is close contact with the most subtle self. The consciousness of this self is reflected in the intellect, Chidabhas, and so the intellect which has the consciousness or Chaitanya, that's how these terms are made. These terms are not the reality. I experience pleasure and pain. The intellect experience. I am pure consciousness or Chaitanya. I experience pleasure and pain. The attributes of the pure self are superimposed on the intellect. Just as you are superimposed on the reflection, you say, I am this. You are not the reflection. But when you see your reflection in the mirror, you think, I am this nose, it is my nose. Is it really your nose? It is a copy of your nose. So this is how he thinks, I am the enjoyer. Now, there is mutual superimposition between the intellect and the self. The intellect and the self, they get superimposed, they get mutual understanding because they are close. When you see the reflection, you think, I am this, and reflection also is really the copy of the object you are. So mutual understanding is there. Compromise. I am you, you are me. This is how the whole world is. This is my boy, he is your boy. All these differences are created in this way, mutual understanding. That's why I always say the triangular cooperative society. Cooperation, mutual compromise. You do this, I will do this. It is mutual fund. If you don't understand all the rules and regulations minutely, fund, there is mutual superimposition between the intellect and the self, nature and the spirit. This is the cause of samsara. Purusa, Jiva, Kshetrajna and Bhukta are all synonymous terms. Don't forget this sentence. Purusa, Jiva, Jivatma, which is covered by this misunderstanding, ignorance. Kshetrajna, he knows I am this body. Purusa knows, the inner self knows I am this body. He says, I am so and so, I am son of this. That means the body. Body, you have understood now, body we have explained. Body is the effect of the nature, Prakriti. So, body is modification, nothing but modification. So, Purusa, Jiva, Kshetrajna and Bhokta, the enjoyer, are all synonymous terms. Purusa here referred to is not the Supreme Self. This is what I was telling you again and again. Jivatma, it is not the Supreme Self. It is not the Paramatma. This Jivatma is nothing but the reflection of the Supreme Self, Paramatma. Self, Supreme Self is reflected. The reflection is known as Purusa. He is the conditioned soul, conditioned by many things, forms, name, and all these five tanmatras. It can be touched, it can be smelled. When you sweat, how bad you smell. All these five tanmatras are in the body. He is the conditioned soul, the soul subject to transmigration, who experiences pleasure and pain. The self or the absolute is ever free from samsara and is unchanging, that is unmanifested, that is not perceived by all these changing phenomena, that is senses, etc., body, senses, mind, intellect, prana. They cannot perceive it because they are the superimposed. How can the reflection know what is the object? Because it has got, though it changes, yet it has got no consciousness. Consciousness is there, but it is covered up by ignorance. The individual soul, self, is the reflection only. It has nothing to do, but it appears as if it is doer and enjoyer also. Enjoyer and Prakriti is the doer. Prakriti and Purusa are the cause of samsara. Nature generates the body, life force, prana, mind, intellect, and the senses. The soul experiences pleasure and pain. Samsara is the experience of pleasure and pain only. So Prakriti, Purusa, both, they are called samsara. The soul is the samsarin. The soul means the samsara. He is the experiencer of pleasure and pain. Okay, thank you. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasesate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Satchidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari Om.